Imagine it's Saturday morning and everybody's in their nice cozy beds, all wrapped up in a nice blanket. When I get the call and it wakes me up at 6 a.m., so I answer the phone to hear the four worst words a farmer could ever hear. The cows are out. With immediate panic, I jump out of bed. I'm running down the stairs. I'm hobbling through the doors of the garage trying to put my boots on. And lo and behold, what do I see? I see a whole bunch of cows on the side of the road eating grass. With fear and anxiety just rushing through my body, I'm thinking to myself, I hope the incoming cars doesn't mistake these big cows for big cars. So I quickly grab a bucket of feed, and luckily enough, a single tap does the trick. This right here, folks, is the life of a farmer. I wasn't born a farmer, but I was raised by farmers. My parents are from a very small little country in South America called Guyana, where most of my family, their life revolved around farming. I could vividly remember my mom telling me stories from their childhood because their childhood was so revolved around farming. I can remember she telling me about times when there would be all 10 siblings working in the fields just to make sure that they would have an opportunity to get to a variety of crops and livestock just to meet their family's growing needs. And it was amazing when I started thinking about all the ways that their life was impacted by farming. So I thought to myself, and I said that these traditions that they've created are absolutely phenomenal. As she would tell me times of when they would all be working tirelessly in the fields to cultivate rice, which was Guyana's most commonly grown crop. Some of the siblings would help work the tractors, which would allow them to plow the land. Others would help with water management techniques, which would allow them to irrigate the fields. And every single one of them would work tirelessly for 120 days until the harvesting of that rice. That rice not only fed their household, but fed so many other households within the community. And it was amazing to see how everybody came together to do so many great things. And this is what really resonated with me because it goes all the way back to the times of when my ancestors who came from India as indentured servants had to find a way to feed their large growing families. And this right here influenced me to continue these traditional components of an average Guyanese lifestyle in America. And that's why for me, farming is all about family. But as I grew up, I always enjoyed being outdoors, loved being outdoors. The best part that I liked about being outdoors was just being able to share this aspect of my life with my family, my friends, and most importantly, eventually, my local community. As I got older, I started to see life in a different lens. I started to be able to take the ideas of growing crops and raising livestock to a whole different avenue. And I saw this would be a great way to unplug from the world and really grant me the opportunity to challenge myself. So I'll tell you a little story about the first time I raised sweet corn. Absolutely terrible. I had cobs with no corn, disease plagued all my plants, and it was just a bust. So like every farmer, I tried again the next year. So what did I do? I researched, I planned, and the next year I organized how I was going to be more successful the following year. And that following year, you bet your bottom dollar, I raised the best darn sweet corn you'd ever seen. And this same concept is what I used when I started raising sheep at a young age of 14. It was amazing to see how much wool we raised in 1 year, but only to learn that we couldn't find a promising buyer because in the state of Florida, wool isn't a hot commodity like we had thought. But luckily, luckily it allowed us to change our direction and move into a different avenue. And it eventually allowed us to become a pretty successful small-scale sheep farmer. And these experiences here have allowed me to learn so many skills, overcome obstacles big and small, and most importantly, it's taught me to expect the unexpected. When I was a student here just a couple years ago, there'd be times I'd be meeting with the USF president, then the next thing you know, I get a call, there's a cow in labor, so I'm rushing home to that cow. All while this is going on, I'm on a Zoom call from my truck. So this just goes to show a farmer's life is filled with adaptability, flexibility, and most importantly, life-changing experiences. But now that I've shared how important farming is to me and my family, I want you to take a moment to realize how important farming is to each and every one of you and your families. So do me a favor, go ahead and close your eyes and picture yourself in your house specifically, in a room that you are in almost every day, and look at the items around that room that you're using every day. Now I want you to go ahead and go to another room and do the same thing. So look around. Now that you have a list of items in your mind, go ahead and open your eyes. Where did those items come from? How were those items produced? Were those items ever produced and influenced by a farmer? The majority of the items in your life, believe it or not, have come from a farmer in some way. It's amazing when we start thinking about all the ways a farmer is more present in our daily lives. For example, the crayons that you and I used when we were younger, a farmer had to grow soybeans to help make those crayons. Or imagine everybody's favorite, ice cream. Those came straight from dairy cows. Or maybe if you had nice crispy french fries at lunch, potentially a farmer had to grow the potatoes to make sure you had an enjoyable snack. And also the t-shirt you're wearing or the pair of socks you have on right now. A farmer had to grow the cotton and then eventually harvest and help process that cotton into that specific item. And that's just a small glimpse of what a farmer has to offer us in our everyday lives. And it's amazing when we start thinking about all these ways. And there's so many ways that you can also participate and try to help these farmers. But as time continues on, farming will only become more and more important. And it's so important for us to realize how important it's going to become and how much of our lives will be influenced by farming. Urban housing is only going to continue to grow. So with the occupation of more and more families in each of these homes, it only means that there will be less land available to do so and more food will be needed. In 2021, the average age of a farmer was 57 and a half years old, meaning in 20 years, we'll need new farmers to take over and meet the increasing food demand. But there's a lot of positive for what lies ahead in the next 20 years, potentially. It holds the key for maybe the second agricultural revolution here in the United States, meaning more cutting-edge technology and increase in productivity and vast improvements allowing farmers to really interact with their livestock or crops. For example, anywhere from robotics to gene editing in the field. So that means that farmers would have a wider variety of crops that are disease and weather resistant or livestock that are actually monitored through sensors and allows farmers to virtually monitor their animals' well-being. So it's amazing when we start thinking about all these ways that a farmer continues to innovate and continue to do such great things. But now that we think about it, what are some ways that you can get involved? And let's go over that now. So some great ways include maybe trying to compost or maybe starting a community garden. No matter where you live, no matter whether it be a house or apartment, you can compost. It's so easy. Take all the scraps from your kitchen, throw them in there, let them rot, and then eventually these can be used to replenish nutrients within your plants around the house. Or definitely try getting involved within your community. Within our fast-growing community, it's amazing to see how our land zoning restrictions play a big part in our community. We don't want farmers to be zoned out of a career. So it's important for us to take a look and realize how we can really help farmers continue to be present in our everyday lives. So I have a very special friend with me here today. Her name is Abeline. And Abeline here, who's going to join me here in a second, Abeline is a chicken who lives on our farm. Thank you very much. So Abeline here is a chicken who lives on our farm. She lays eggs for us every single day, and it allows us to have a delicious breakfast. But it not only gives us eggs, but it also gives members of our community eggs as well. So it provides a breakfast to everybody in the community. Because it's all about caring for those around us. But Abeline is also here to display what it really means to be a farmer and why we continue to get up every day and do what we do, whether it be a hobby or whether it be your lifestyle. And that's why farmers are passionate people, are hardworking people, and problem solvers. But most importantly, they have patience and perseverance. And when you look at it, it's a lifestyle that it's not seen as a job. It's seen as a way of life. Farmers continue to get up every day because that's what they love to do. When you think about it, it's a life that you can only understand by living in this life and being able to participate. And I've given you many ways on how you can do so. But it's so important for us to go ahead and look at why we continue to need farmers in our lives. And now you know that farmers continue to show us the importance and the influences in our life. I want you to take a moment now that I've shared a vast perspective and a unique perspective of the next 20 years potentially, but I want you to think about how much of your life is influenced by a farmer right now. And I want you to really think about and give appreciation to farmers, but also think about how will you get your hands dirty. Thank you.